My name is Lise Gregory, and I am the women's tennis coach at UNC Asheville, and I am starting my 18th year. I started playing tennis, at a very young age. It was kind of what I did for fun growing up. We lived across the street from a tennis club in South Africa, and so my parents would be over there playing. I'd go over and I'd just hit with my friends. And so it's really something, like I say, that I've always done for fun. And I feel pretty fortunate that it was that way. It was very unstructured. I didn't have a whole lot of tennis lessons growing up, and it was more sort of learning from watching, imitating people, and just playing, just competing with friends. I realized I was a decent tennis player when I think I got elected to sort of a national team. It was the top, say, 10 juniors in the country. And I thought, okay, I must be pretty good. My parents were, in fact, my family in general, they never really made a big fuss if you did well. So it wasn't one of those things where somebody was saying, oh, you're great, you're good. It was just sort of an organic thing where, I did well and I started to get the results, and which I think is kind of good, because you don't get too caught up in rankings or anything like that, or in what people are telling you. It's just sort of, it's how you do. It's sort of objective. I always wanted to play professionally. I mean, when I was a little kid, I would pretend that I was, Rod Laver or Martina Navratilova, or it was always my dream to play Wimbledon. When we finally got television in South Africa and we'd watch the finals of Wimbledon, that was it. That's what I wanted to do. Yeah, growing up in South Africa during the apartheid era, if I'd been born with a different color skin, I wouldn't be sitting here today. And so, I think one of my deepest regrets is that I never spoke out against the system. South Africa at that time in the 70s and early 80s was, a fairly homophobic society, and a woman really didn't have a whole lot of power. I'm so thankful for the fact that I got to come to the United States, because again, my life would look so different. The opportunities and the freedom here to do different ththings and to be who you are is so powerful. About playing professionally, it was my dream, and so when I finished high school, I kind of gave it a go. I tried to play professionally, so I was having to work and then go play, and then work and go play, because my parents couldn't afford to just send me to go play. And so it was really difficult. I didn't really have any results, so I basically decided I'm not going to play anymore. And that took a couple years. And at that point, I got a call from the coach at Miami. And he said, I'd like you to come to University of Miami. I said, no, that's okay, thanks. And after a couple of months of working, I called him back and I said, do you still have that scholarship? And he said, yes, I do. I said, I'd like to give it a try. And that was it. And I came over and, was just, I was just in awe of what was available to me, just people to train with a great coach who was, I couldn't have picked a better coach. It was like all of a sudden the things that I dreamt of doing were attainable. My college career was, again, it was, a lot of it has to do with who I ended up being coached by and the environment that I was in. And I don't think enough student athletes pay enough attention to that. Like, who are you going to be surrounded by day in and day out? I think sometimes it's, there's other things that come into play. But I was so fortunate that I had an unbelievable coach who was able to help me and give me confidence in myself and help me take my game to the next level. And being a part of a team that was so successful was very special. We came this close to winning the NCAAs as a team my sophomore year, that's just something special. When the ladies won the conference title this year, no, it wasn't the NCAA title, but it was that important to them and to us, and it's just such a special thing when you win as a group. The Pro Tour is, it's funny, we were just talking about Henry Patton and the success he's having, and I had a conversation with Henry a couple months ago about, when people watch you on TV and they see you playing at Wimbledon and they imagine this glamorous lifestyle and, oh, how wonderful every day must be, and and it's a grind. It's a real grind, and so that match that you play, that somebody watches you win, they don't see the hundreds and thousands of hours that you train just that year. They don't see you carrying all your bags through the train station and rushing to get your train to get to the next event, or it's a real grind, but it's also to reach your dream and to do those things. I remember the first time I played Wimbledon, I was just in awe. I thought, I can't believe I'm here, and obviously that wears off a little bit after a while, but I think the goal is for it to never become just a job, to keep that excitement and to keep that sort of sense of awe, because it is something special. I had some pretty good results on the tour. I like to think that I got some good doubles partners, which really helps a lot. But it's funny because when I think back to those times, I do think about the success, but more than anything, I think about the people that I was fortunate to be around and the relationships that I built, and a lot of those people are still part of my life today. I had played a lot when I was playing the tour. I played a lot of tournaments, and just, I think I sort of burnt myself out a little bit by not, taking a little more time off during the year, and so I was sort of ready to go in a different direction. And when I stopped playing, I thought, well, let me give college coaching a try. I honestly didn't think it would turn into the career that it turned into, but once I got my green card and I was able to sort of, find a real job, I thought I'd give it a go. And I was fortunate enough to be the assistant at Vanderbilt for a year. Worked for one of the best coaches in the country. He's retired now, but Jeff McDonald. Learned so much from him, and then was able to get the job at Florida State pretty quickly. But we learn so much from the people that we're around. With some people, it's what I learn. It's learning what not to do. I was fortunate that I got to be around people like Ian Duvenhagen and Jeff McDonald and Tom Hand, who you're constantly learning what to do, and that's I'm very fortunate that I was in that position. My FSU career, I was a very, 1 year being an assistant before I got that head job, and so I was still a very young coach with very little experience, and so it's kind of interesting when I look back at those early years. I think there's so many things I would do differently. And you're in general, you're constantly learning as a coach. There's so many things that I do now that I wouldn't have done before, and I almost wish I'd spent a couple more years at Vanderbilt to have a little more experience under my belt. But at the same time, you're forced to learn very, very quickly. Again, the relationships that you build during your coaching years it's so awesome. My very first recruit at Florida State, Kia Orsberry, is now on the faculty at Western Carolina, and we still see each other periodically. And I just got a call from another player from Florida State who graduated in 2002, called me the other day, and she had bumped into Angelina Joy Hug after a tennis match in Switzerland. And so they sat down together unknowingly, had a beer together and started talking about college tennis, and realized that they had both been coached by the same person. So, tennis is such a small world, but again, those relationships that you build are pretty cool. Well, honestly, I did not leave Florida State to come to UNC Asheville. I left Florida State because I met my partner there. She had just finished her PhD and got the job offer at Western Carolina on the faculty in the sport management program. And so we sort of had a decision to make. And I thought, you know what, I've done tennis for such a long time. Let's give it a go. I'll go up there and try some different things. And so I did, came up here, and after a year or two, this job opened up, and I was so excited to get back into college coaching. I had just missed it tremendously. So, yeah, I mean, it's interesting because obviously Florida State is a higher level. I mean, yeah, it's a Power 5 school, but I believe coaching is coaching. It doesn't matter where you are, and doesn't matter where you're making a difference. It's still so unbelievably. I'm amazed that I get to do this for a living, and this is what I did for fun growing up. And so, yeah, I've had a blast here the last 17 years. Playing Florida State in the first round of the NCAAs was pretty wild. To stand there when they're introducing the teams and look across and see my former team was surreal. But knowing the fact that they're Power 5, I know what their budget looks like, I know how many people they have on their staff, and the ladies went out there and did unbelievably well. I mean, I was so proud of how well they competed. I mean, we were this close to winning the doubles point. Rosie's going to win her match. I was like, we are in this match, and this is where this program is now. And so it was a pretty cool moment for me. I really enjoy doing what I do, and I believe that this experience is supposed to be enjoyable for them and for me. I think it's, I hear coaches talking about it being a business, and yes, college sports is becoming a business, but I personally don't want to ever have my team be run like a business. I think it's supposed to be fun. And so I think you can work really hard. I think you can be unbelievably competitive, and it can still be a lot of fun. And so, I sort of go into every day with that in mind. And I think to see somebody come in as a freshman and be a little bit, kind of tired of tennis from the junior grind, and then see their love of the game come back it's wonderful. I mean, Rosie Dixon is a great example of that. She was a little bit burned out on tennis from, the Florida junior tennis circuit, and 5 years later, she's out there and just having the best time, and didn't want her experience to end, and that's what it's all about. I love when we win. I mean, nobody's more competitive than me, but I think you can't lose sight of the fact that you're dealing with young women every single day who you have such a huge influence on their experience as a college athlete. And that the way you do that changes every year too. So you're constantly being challenged, and you constantly have to learn different ways to get through to them and to help them with that. So, I don't think I could have picked a better career for myself. I mean, I've been so fortunate to do this.